My stepdaughter wants her real dad to give her away. Plus updates. Original post. My stepdaughter will be getting married on August 3rd. The wedding planning has consumed most of her mother's life for the past 6 months. I say her mother because we aren't married, though we've lived together for 10 years. My stepdaughter graduated last December from university. I paid for her to go to college. Though it was a state school, it still ran $40,000. She does not have a job and has been living with us for the duration of her college career and since her graduation. I also bought her a car to get back and forth from school when she finished high school. From time to time, her deadbeat father would pop into her life and she would fawn all over him. Although he has not contributed a cent to her education nor paid any child support, she still loves him and wants him in her life, though that is my girlfriend's fault as child support was not part of the settlement. He stays long enough to break her heart by skipping town and breaking some promise that he made her. So, the wedding venue holds 250 people max. I gave them a list of 20 people that I want invited, since I was paying for everything. They told me that was no problem and they'd take care of it. So, I let these people know they'd be getting an invite and they should save the date. This Saturday, I saw one of my friends on this list at a golf course and asked if he was coming. He told me that he wasn't invited. He told me that he got an announcement but not an invitation. He had it in his backseat, along with probably 6 months of mail and showed it to me. Sure enough, it was just an announcement. And my name was nowhere on it. It had her dad's name and her mom's name, and not mine. This led to a pretty big fight with my girlfriend, as I found out that none of my list of 20 made a cut for the final guest list, because 250 people is very tight. I was angry, but not a hell of a lot I could do, because the important people in my life had already been offended. My girlfriend said if some people didn't RSVP yes, I might be able to get a couple people in. But that is an ultimate slap in the face in my opinion. So, I was boiling on Saturday. Yesterday, we had a Sunday dinner with the future in-laws family and us, and a surprise guest, the real dad. At this little dinner, my stepdaughter announced that her real dad was going to be able to make it to her wedding, and that now he'd be able to give her away. This was greeted with a chorus of, "Oh, how great," and "How wonderfuls." I don't think I ever felt so angry and so disrespected. I was shaking. I took a few seconds to gather my composure, because I honestly wasn't sure if I would cry or start throwing punches or both. Once I was sure I'd be able to speak, I got up from my chair and said I'd like to make a toast. I can't remember exactly what I said, but the gist of it was this: I'd like to make a toast. The sound of spoons against glasses ring in my ears. It has been my great pleasure to be part of this family for the past 10 years. Aw, how sweet. At this point in my life, I feel I owe a debt of gratitude to bride and groom, because they have opened my eyes to something very important. Confident smiles exchanged. They have showed me that my position in this family is not what I once thought it was. And now a glimmer of confusion and shock begins to spread on the faces in the room. Though I once thought of myself as the patriarch or godfather of the family, commanding great respect and sought out for help in times of need, it seems instead that I hold the position of an ATM. Good for a stream of money, but not much else. As I have been replaced as host, both on the invitations and in the ceremony, I am resigning my financial duties as host to my successor, a real dad. So cheers to the happy couple and the path they have chosen. I finished my drink and said, "You all can let yourselves out." Is this selfish? Am I supposed to shell out 40 to 50 grand for a wedding that I can't invite anyone to? That I'm not a part of? I'm so done with this crap. I'm done with my stepdaughter. I'm done with my girlfriend. I transferred the money out of our joint account last night. She has not had a job since she moved in with me. This morning, I called all the vendors I had written checks to for deposits to refund my money. At present, it looks like I'll lose around $1,500 for the venue, but the other vendors have been great about refunding. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Sir, I respect the stance you have taken and find it disgusting that you would be treated this way after 10 years. The best of luck to you. Ah, catharsis. Seriously, OP, come back in a week and let us know. I swelled with pride listening to how you stood up for yourself. Finally, a good word spoken. Never let others determine your value. I applaud you. This, after 10 years of some sentimental security, if we can call it that, and investment, It takes a great deal of courage for a man to stand his ground and clearly, not passive-aggressively, refuse to take any part of it. It would be totally understandable if they had given even just a small consideration to your wishes. But to leeches like these? Just shake them off your back, man. I would have been even angrier. You paid for her college. You were going to pay for her wedding. And they couldn't even do the bare minimum of inviting your 20 people? That is just pure disrespect towards you. I would get out of that toxic environment right away. I can't believe the mother would do this and allow it. As a woman who got dealt a deadbeat addict horrible piece of crap from my son's father, I'm amazed. I found a great guy who has been there for us. If my son acted like this, I would put him in his place. Real dad or not, this guy has been there day in and out. She could have even opted for both of them to walk her down the aisle. The worst part is, here is this man who grew to love her as his own. So much so that he wanted to invite people he loved to share in celebrating her love, and she basically said, screw that. Didn't even tell him, just hid it behind his back. You handled that beautifully. I'm a young woman with both a real dad and stepdad in my life that I love very much. I've often wondered which would walk me down the aisle. My two dads hate each other, so I worry about offending the other. Would you have felt better if she asked the both of you to walk her down the aisle? As in one dad on each arm? Your situation is probably different than ours. If real dad has contributed time and money to raising you throughout your life, has shared in alleviating the anguish that is bringing up a teenage girl rather than contributing to it, then you should be fine. Ask them both to meet you. Ask them both to do it as a favor to you. No man could refuse that. Very true. Sometimes you have to put your differences aside for the sake of someone else's happiness. My sister and I have a very similar situation. Our real dad has never paid for a single thing and has hardly been in our lives at all. He was and is an alcoholic, and my mom chose to take him out of our lives when I was 2 and my sister was 5, and then she married another man when I was 6. Our last names were switched to his last name, and when my mom and stepdad got divorced when I was 12, he paid child support for us until 18. We've been calling him dad since I was 5, and consider him our dad, even though since I was 13 we started seeing our real father a couple times a year. We call them both dad. To clarify to each other which dad we are talking about, we say dad 1 or dad 2. Anyways, I would 100% get my stepdad to walk me down the aisle, even though I know this would hurt my biological dad. My stepdad is the one who has taken care of me, and is the one who deserves to give me away. My sister, on the other hand, would get my biological dad to give her away, I believe. Maybe even get them both to give her away like Opie suggested. But I think you have every right to be angry as they're unappreciative and taking advantage of you. Your stepdaughter sounds like a spoiled brat who has kept her biological dad on a pedestal no matter how lame of a father he has been. And your girlfriend is ridiculous. If I try that crap, my mom would lose it on me for being so ungrateful. And they're not just being ungrateful for financial stability, it's the stability of the family. And father, that's important too. You did the right thing withdrawing your financial help to this wedding. If these two women are really the selfish. Now for the first update. The immediate aftermath was tantrum and people sitting there mumbling while not actually saying anything to me, but to each other. After much yelling with a girlfriend about me being selfish, I spent the night in my home office and no one knocked on my door. Not once. Today's aftermath is kind of depressing for me. Girlfriend brought me the bride's wedding planner to show me how much work I was ruining. I thumbed through it and found a page in the music section for father-daughter dances. All of the songs were catered to real dad's taste. So I thought they were just being disrespectful, but now I'm feeling like they never really gave a crap at all, especially since the menu included 2 ingredients I'm allergic to. That actually made me laugh. Either way, I'm glad to be done. Return to planner and ask her when she and bride could move out. Also, I never promised to pay for the wedding. I offered them the use of my home when they were sure it was going to be small, but other than that, all I've heard is how it's the bride's family that should pay. So, let it be the bride's family then, aka not me. Final update a week later. Girlfriend and bride are now moved out. They're moving in with the groom. It was very hard not to be petty with some of the belongings they took with them, but it's done. And I switched out the locks and now it's time for a brew. I can't believe how popular the story got, but I feel good to be given support by so many. If I find out what happens with the wedding, I'll let you know, but I can't guarantee that I will put in the effort to find out. From what I've heard, they're trying to scale things back and get his parents to help out. Girlfriend burned bridges when I found out she tried to write herself a check on our joint account the day after the unpleasantness. By then I had already moved money, so I guess I'm a bigger jerk than her. But I could feel it coming. That's all. Thanks. Sometimes you're having a kind of murky day with less than fun thoughts. Then you read something like this and just kinda appreciate that your problems are nowhere near as absurd as this guy's. Reddit has made me feel better about my late mother-in-law. She sucked, but at least she wasn't bad crap crazy. My mother-in-law and I have a good functional relationship, but I suppose if we weren't related, we wouldn't seek out each other's company. Our personalities don't complement each other, and there have been times where it's felt a bit strained or awkward. But my goodness me, she's such a wonderful person. She's generous, steps in to help whenever she can, keeps her head in a crisis, and can basically handle anything. Reddit has made me realize that the people worth keeping close are the good people, not the people you click with. I used to make jokes about having a typically awkward relationship with my mother-in-law, but not now. I bet the parents of the groom are on his case to not marry into such a messy and toxic family. This was my thought too. How is groom's family reacting? Like, do they want him to bail, or were they in on the fleecing? I'd say at least two options. Either they're trying to tell groom to bail and refusing to add money to the wedding, or they're cursing OP along with ex-girlfriend and bride, then trying to mooch off someone else. There was a post like this where the biological dad paid for the wedding, and then the daughter said that she wanted the stepdad, the guy the mother cheated on bio dad with, to walk her down the aisle, and then the bio dad cut the daughter off and didn't even speak to her even when he was dying, saying his last words. It was her mom's idea too, and then she wouldn't listen when literally everyone, aside from mom and stepdad, told her what a horrible idea that would be, and she should let bio dad do it. I still think mom secretly wanted a final F you, to deny him the one singular honor he'd been looking forward to for 24 years. She got that, and then apparently just watched as her daughter tore herself to pieces, with regret over the irreparable damage that had been done. Last story. How to tell my female 35, family and friends that my partner male 42 doesn't owe them anything just because he's rich. My partner, not married, is generally considered rich. He's a good person, with a good career and is a good caretaker. He loves and helps his family any way he can. He's a good father, even a good ex-husband to his ex-wife. We met when he was going through some dark times. I helped him get through many things and overcome some dark behaviors. For this reason, he feels thankful to me. So he spoils me, not only with love but with things too. For instance, I had a really bad accident. So he bought me a 6-figure car, which I didn't ask for, but he did it anyway. He takes me on trips 3 times a year, one with his family, one with friends, and one just the two of us. He spends money on cars, technology, and travels. But that's about it. We don't go to fancy places. We don't buy expensive jewelry or wear designer clothes. This is where my problem starts. My mom suddenly stopped working and asked me to pay for her car while she looked for a job. This was 2 years ago. She stopped working and I'm stuck with her car note. My siblings expect me to pay for their kids' parties because I can afford it because my partner is rich. My friend and I went to a concert and I paid for the tickets, and she was supposed to Venmo me for her ticket. But she didn't because I don't need the money. During a house party, some friends asked me to buy the good liquor just because I can, and got upset when I didn't. Siblings expect me to pay when we go out to eat, and don't even offer to pay. They tell me what they want for Christmas, things that I don't even have, like an LV bag. And the things I need to buy for my nieces and nephews for Christmas? Expensive things. How can I tell everyone to just stop expecting me to use my partner's money to buy them stuff? As I said before, we're actually very frugal when it comes to everything else. Tell them point blank, and stop spending time with people who take advantage of you. It's going to be an uphill battle, since you've let them treat you like this. If someone asks you for a bag, either ignore them or ask them point blank why they're asking for a bag, or ask them for something at a similar price point. You're almost certainly going to lose friends over this. If they ask for an LV bag, buy them a knockoff. Your family and friends have a lot of nerve putting expectations on you when you're not even married to your partner. But we teach people how to treat us. It sounds like your partner is a kind and generous man. Would this be easier for you if you remind yourself that you're not being kind to him by removing his ability to decide how to spend his money? Realistically, it's going to be hard to draw these boundaries at first. You may want to enlist your partner to back you up. Not to blame you for not letting you spend the money, which would be unfair to him, but to say things like, "We've been trying to keep to a budget for gifts," or "We've been examining our financial priorities, and we're cutting back on dining out." Just consistent messaging. The phrase, "Sorry, it's not in the budget," may be your friend. It doesn't imply that you don't have the money, just that you've chosen to allocate your funds in other ways. I would do a combination of things. 1. Set boundaries and expectations for things like gifts up front. What would the kids like for Christmas? I'm budgeting X dollar per child and Y dollar for dolls this year. If you're going out to meal with your siblings, don't agree to go to expensive places and ask for separate checks up front or ask your sibling to pay and send them the money. Don't agree to pay for things like parties. There will probably be an extinction burst where they ask you for even more stuff to see what they can get you to take on. But if you hold firm, they will eventually stop asking. 2. For your mom and her car payment. Well, depending on your relationship with her and her ability to work, you may either be stuck paying off the car and then never agreeing to take on an expense like that again, or having a frank conversation with her about what her plans are for resuming work and taking the payment over again. It sounds like your mom has decided that you're her retirement plan, so you may also need to do some thinking about how you're going to manage that. If you want, you can redirect the money for expensive gifts and stuff into educational funds for the kids in your family, so that you're still using your resources to benefit the family, but you're not setting expectations for material goods. And let's face it, they're going to come to you when it's time for college anyway. Might as well get ahead of it. Thank you for your comment. You have great ideas. I'm going to start telling them I have a budget for everything. Christmas, birthdays, etc. You're right. My mom thinks I'm her retirement fund. She's always mentioned it since I was little. She would say things like, I need to save money to buy her house when she's old. But now, she's using me to pay for a car. The car is in my name because she doesn't have good credit, so I guess I'm stuck with it unless she finds a job. But that's the last time I use my credit to help her buy anything.